this psychotic breakdown, I should also mention, was very different than anything else I have experienced in the sense that I was like hearing voices during this era, right? From 2020 to like 2021 when I was getting triggered a lot. And it's something I should have shut down. I definitely should have shut down, like, anybody triggering me. You know, I just play along with it because for so long in my life, I'm like, "This is what makes money. This is" so I think I was already conditioned to be like, "Well, triggers are funny, and when I get triggered, people like it." And then people do like it until they don't, right? And then they're like, "This is too
Yeah,
weird."
that's such a weird self-fulfilling like
Mm,
circle, snake eating its own tail of
yeah.
like, oh, everyone looking at me causes me a breakdown and I get canceled. But when I break down, then I make money and I get even more attention and more people are looking at me. And then that makes me have another breakdown. I feel like that's what's happening to America. I feel like
Yeah.
you're America right now.
Oh, wow. I don't know how I feel about that, but
Yeah.
maybe it's accurate.
Okay.
Hopefully, that means America's gonna heal soon because I'm on a healing
You're
journey,
on a
so
healing journey and we need to get America on a healing
we
journey.
might.
Hey there, it's me, Rainn Wilson, and I want to dig into the human experience. I want to have conversations about a spiritual revolution. Let's get deep with our favorite thinkers, friends, and entertainers about life, meaning, and idiocy. Welcome to the Soul Boom Podcast.
Hey everybody, before you watch the video, click subscribe. Would you please, pretty please? It would help us at Soul Boom so much. Click subscribe. Now, I don't know, do you have any experience being on camera at all?
I do a
Or
podcast,
being,
but not like on camera like you. I mean, not
I'm
like TV.
kidding,
Okay.
I'm kidding. Let's reframe this a little bit. Like, most of your journey has been a mental health journey. So what you're describing is like, there's kind of imbalance and there's been some trauma, obviously. There's some drug abuse and addiction stuff and a little dose of narcissism thrown in.
Oh, for sure.
And then you get these modern tools like YouTube and MySpace and Twitch and streaming and all the social media stuff. And it's a fascinating cocktail. But the thing I want to just bring out is that I also really admire you and have gotten to really kind of know you and watching your videos and reading about you and preparing for this interview, how just unabashedly raw you are about sharing your ups and downs. And I feel like that has been so helpful to really millions of people that have followed your journey. You get a lot of backlash, of course, but you're unafraid to be completely vulnerable and to talk about the journey. But I would love for you to talk a little bit more specifically about kind of a blow by blow going through this mental health journey and documenting it in such a fascinating, in-your-face way.
Yeah, thank you for that. It is, it is a blessing at this point because I think I found like my stability in life. So I feel like now at least I could show the happy ending. I think it could have ended like badly.
Right.
In which case
Yeah, it'd be a very different story. Yeah.
which I also romanticize. Like, so I always thought like, oh, I'll die before I'm 30. Like I romanticized it like Anna Nicole, like those kind of people were the people I related to. Whereas like, you know what, if I end early, like at least I'll be like legendary or something. Like that was the thoughts in my head. Of course, now I have children and I want to live to be like 100. But yeah, I just, again, it was kind of maybe more like the narcissism and the money of just like, I'm just going to document this. This is how I am. I'm a mess. Like, at least I can make money this way. Cause I could never hold like a standard job. I tried and I just like couldn't. Before I made money on YouTube, I did stripping, I did escorting, I did all that stuff. And it was just my only option. So then when I saw on YouTube, I could make money doing the same thing and just showing myself like completely like just plastered or disassociating or whatever. Like, and I thought, so I did it unintentionally. It wasn't my intention to be like, look at like this, because I didn't know I had mental illness. I really didn't until much later. And so it was untreated. I think people can like live with mental illness, which is what I'm living with, but mine was untreated for so long. And because I was getting rewarded like through YouTube and money, I was like kept going with it until I realized it was like, okay,
Yeah.
like I can't do it anymore.
What were the symptoms of your mental illness? How did it manifest?
Well, at first it was just, I attribute a lot of it to like abusing like prescription pills. So I thought, well, maybe it's like when I'm using this, it's just I'm a little unhinged. But then when I wasn't, it was 2019. I don't know. I just like something happened where I got 5150'd. I had just gone through a breakup and
What's
I
5150 for those who
like,
don't know?
oh, it's like a involuntary hold. So like
Okay.
in California, if
Danger
you,
to itself or others?
yeah, okay, so
Uh-huh.
you know, yeah,
Okay.
okay,
I
so
know.
yeah.
Some of our viewers may not.
Okay, right. So I got 5150 3 times that year, and the first was I just remember waking up in like Cedar Sinai, and my ex-boyfriend at the time was there, and then someone I was filming with at the time was there, and they were like filming, like they had their camera and stuff, and I just lost it. I ran through Cedar Sinai. They shot me with like Ativan, and I just like couldn't calm down, and so that was like the first time it happened. Went to the mental hospital. So I have borderline personality disorder, which is more of like a personality disorder. And I had trouble like regulating my emotions. I thought relationships were more intense than they were. I would like have like these fantasies, but also like I would disassociate at the same time. So there was like delusion, there was dissociation, there was like a lot happening. Um, and yeah, I think it wasn't until then that I saw a therapist who was like, "Oh, this might be something you have," which then they referred me to DBT classes, which is um, it's like a group therapy for people with borderline.
Dialectical behavior therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
And how did that help specifically?
Oh, it helped.
Is that what helped turn the corner?
Yes.
So what about it specifically?
I like the group aspect of it. I was always someone that like just wanted private therapy, or actually I wasn't doing any therapy up until 2019, but I love the group aspect of just like hearing other people like share like what I was going through, because I didn't know what splitting was. I didn't know what disassociating was. And I was like,
What is
oh.
splitting and disassociating? Tell us.
So like disassociating, like just like you almost like black out. There'd be times when I couldn't even remember, like people would tell me what happened. I'm like, I just don't remember that happening, because I would totally black out almost. And I guess I did it since childhood. When you asked me about childhood, so much of that I just disassociated from, where it's like I don't remember. It's kind of a blur, like memories, but like I just don't remember a lot of it. And same thing splitting. It's like all or nothing, right? It's like, I'm obsessed with someone or I completely hate someone, and I can just turn like in an instant, like it's a different person. So I thought, did I have multiple personality disorder? Did I have all this? So when I went to the group therapy classes, they really taught you the skills on, for me, it's breathing, which now, and later on I had another rock bottom in 2021, but for me, it's like kind of like my meditation now. But in DBT, they call it wise mind, which is like, just really like counting the spaces in between breaths, which is basically for me like meditation.
So show us wise mind right now. Can you demonstrate?
So it would be like, yeah, if I was getting overwhelmed, right, and I want to like snap on someone, like, and this just works for me, not for everybody, but it really was like taking the breaths, right? You just go, you like count, and then you see the spaces in between, and you just count. You either see the spaces or you count the breaths. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you like exhale. So it's like, and then just like watching the spaces pass. As I've gotten into like meditation, sometimes I see like clouds passing or my problems passing, or just kind of like taking a moment, which I don't think I ever did. I was very quick to react, which is why all my videos online are me just like really angry and aggressively reacting to anyone who said anything about me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is
Mm-hmm.
scary for people. It's scary for people in real life, because I was snapping on my people in real life, and I'm like, this is just who I am. Like, this is just what it is.
Were you sober at that point in time?
Yeah, because I wouldn't say I was ever like addicted. I said I would use when I was around people who would use. So if someone was like, that was the year of my meth, right? But like Xanax, all this stuff like that. So I was sober. And I think that helped a lot. I was also like very alone, and I just never did good alone. So with the group, I just felt like I had people to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
where very basic things like, get sleep, socialize, like get some exercise, that kind of stuff. So that was like my socializing, because I didn't have people in my life, And that's why I liked it. It really, really helped me.
You've shared a lot about, using pills, using sex, seeking fame, the ups and downs of that. What was your lowest point, and what sought you to kind of seek perhaps a spiritual path out of what you were experiencing?
I've had a couple low points. 2007, 2019, I had 2 overdoses that landed me in the hospital. But it actually was 2021 when I had like an actual psychotic break, where I was like, ooh, like nothing's working. Because 2021, I've done the therapy, I've done the DBT. I thought I had everything under control. But, there was just like one event online, like sort of like a cancellation. And I've been through so many, but there was one specific cancellation that like,
What
honestly,
happened?
it's like traumatic. I've never talked about it. Like it's online. I think if people know, they know, but it's actually, and a lot of it was.
Can you talk about it here? Is this a safe space?
It is, but I don't know if the internet's a safe space. Because you know what? Because it is still so fresh, right? Like it's a few years ago. A lot of it was brought on by me. I would say like 90% of it was definitely brought on by me because I couldn't handle the triggers that I was able to. There was just a situation I was in that triggered me a lot. And I'm putting it all on me and like not on anyone else. Like it triggered me so much. And I thought I was like strong enough to like handle these triggers, but it didn't work. So I had a psychotic break in September of 2021.
What happened?
I went online. It's deleted now. I just went on Twitter. It wasn't even YouTube. And I just was like screaming, sobbing. Like I couldn't control myself. Like I couldn't breathe. Just like shouting at people to like leave me alone.
And let me just pause you
Yeah.
right there. What is it about you? And I'm just really trying to understand
Yeah.
this. Like, I'm so activated. I'm so angry. I'm so triggered. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm about to just lose my shit. I'm gonna have a psychotic break.
Yeah.
But I gotta log in and hit live stream and put it in the tripod and press it and make sure my light's on. And now I'm gonna have the psychotic break.
Well, the lights weren't on.
What's the deal with that though? What is that impulse? And again, is it because you're getting that reward from doing it? The more that you have kind of nervous breakdowns online, then you get, the money truck backs up or what?
I think in the past it would have been, but this was the reason I mentioned Twitter is because like you couldn't monetize Twitter back then. So I remember putting it because to me it was like I said, I've been canceled. I've been in so many feuds. Again, a lot of my doing. Drama.
Okay, I'm going to slow you down here because
I know.
I want to there's a lot of big generalizations. I want to get like real more specific. Like,
one thing I've never talked about, and because I've healed so much, because it was literally like, and this sounds so silly because it's like I've been through like literally sexual assault when I was a kid by like teachers, like crazy shit. But this like one event, I don't know, it's just something I haven't processed or worked through quite yet. And because it took years for me to like fully get through it, and maybe I'm not even fully get through it, otherwise I could talk about it. Again, I think people like if they know, they know. And it's all I put the blame on me because I couldn't handle the triggers. But in answer to your question of like why film it, right, is because I feel like when you feel like the whole world is against you, you want people to see the pain. But then people could say, this is manipulative. This isn't real. But I was in so much pain that I just wanted people to be like, look, I'm breaking down. Like, I quit. I'm surrendering. Please stop talking about me. Like, I'm done. Like, and that's what I wanted people to see. But it backfires, right? Because obviously in the storm of cancellation, people are like, you're being manipulative. This is fake tears, which kind of makes it worse for the person then going through it, right? Like, it was real. But for me, I just felt like if people could see the hurt, like, because I used to do that to like boyfriends, to anyone. Like, I wanted them to see that I was actually in pain, but it kind of backfires. So it doesn't really work that way, which now I haven't cried or had a breakdown online since then. And I'm so happy and much prouder for
3 years without a gigantic online breakdown. Congratulations.
Are we knocking on wood? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a big feat for someone like me.
Feel free to have one here, though. That would be...
You know what? And it does feel like that. Like, I don't know you, but I'm like, I can talk to you. You understand. Like, I just feel, but yeah, I think because I've done so well of just like not talking about it, because I just never want to come across as like a victim or poor me, because like in this situation, like I really don't think I was. It just was like a lot for me to handle at once. And for some reason, I couldn't psychologically handle it back then.
So you psychotic break, 21, cancellation, everything. And what happened then? I love to hear the stories of like Phoenix from the ashes, like your lowest point, where you were at, and what handholds you found to get yourself out of it. Because ultimately at Soul Boom, we're looking for spiritual tools to help us in our personal transformation and societal transformation. So
I love that. This psychotic breakdown, I should also mention, was very different than anything else I have experienced, in the sense that I was like hearing voices during this era, right? From 2020 to like 2021, when I was getting triggered a lot. And it's something I should have shut down. I definitely should have shut down like anybody triggering me, but I don't know. I just play along with it because for so long in my life, I'm like, this is what makes money. So I think I was already conditioned to be like, well, triggers are funny. And when I get triggered, people like it. And then people do like it until they don't, right? And then they're like, this is too weird.
That's such a weird, self-fulfilling like circle, snake eating its own tail of like, everyone looking at me causes me a breakdown and I get canceled. But when I break down, then I make money and I get even more attention and more people are looking at me. And then that makes me have another breakdown. Like I feel like that's what's happening to America. I feel like you're America right now.
Oh, wow. I don't know. how I feel about that, but
Yeah.
maybe it's accurate.
Okay.
Hopefully that means America's going to heal soon because I'm on a healing journey.
You're on a
so.
healing journey, and we need to get America on a healing
We
journey.
might. I think this is the year, right? Something will switch hopefully for everybody. Hopefully it's
I
not 2020.
I hope so. I hope so. But
Yeah.
continue. So you're at this low point, cancellation, documenting this, but voices, what's up? with
Yeah,
that?
I really thought like schizophrenia or something. Like I really thought I was developing this like later in life. I was like, whoa, this is crazy because I was hearing voices, which some people would call them like intrusive thoughts, I guess. But mine were like actual voices where I'm like talking to the person in the room with me. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I don't know the difference between intrusive thoughts and what I was feeling because I felt like there was people and I was talking to them in the room. So it was definitely scary. I went to a doctor. They like, you're not schizophrenic, but I was able to obtain schizophrenic medication from someone else. So I was like taking that, which probably wasn't helping
You
because
got black market schizo medication.
yes,
So
yes. So I was
did you run that by anybody, or you
no,
just kind of like,
no, I went
okay?
just full on
You
for
don't
it.
usually run stuff by people, right? You just kind of
Now
like
I
go,
do. I do
okay.
have a few people I put things through before I blast it out on the internet.
Right.
Um, so so I did get some black market. But so this one was just more intense. And then when I had the actual psychotic break, like this is when I'm full on like I had checked myself in. I don't know if I talked about this, but it was not a big deal. Like I checked myself into more of like a retreat, like a
Yeah.
I don't want to say it, but there's like a really nice one that you can like check into. And it's more of just like a break. They kind of like take your phone and you kind of just like a break from social media, which is kind of all I needed. And kind of when I am in my head now, I just like kind of like don't look at my phone for a couple days and
So
actually helps.
it's kind of a social media rehab,
Yeah,
kind of like
kind of.
instead of putting away the drugs and alcohol, they put away your phone.
Kind of.
Like
Yeah.
you're not allowed to document yourself.
Yes. Yeah. It's actually really nice. And I was like, oh,
You
this
get
is
up in the morning and the birds are chirping and they're like, "Oh, I want to, but I don't have a phone. How can I document this beautiful morning?"
Yes. Can I tell you, like, that would be me because there was so many fun things that happened in there and I just wanted to document it just for myself. And I was like, I'm like, no one's gonna believe me. Or like, it's just like, I don't know. It was such a great experience to just be away. This was before I got into like meditation and stuff like that. It was just to like literally go away. And then the voices kind of stopped. I wasn't like talking to people anymore, but maybe more intrusive thoughts were coming in still. I was supposed to get married that same year, so I do have a fiance at this point who's like doing all he can to help me, but he's not
Not the
someone.
person you're married to now.
Yeah,
Oh, it is.
it is.
Okay.
We met in 2020, so this was like very early on. Xanax, like this is 2020, right? So I was unhinged, and he like did not want to date me, rightfully so. I was going through a lot of stuff at the time. But he kinda helped me. That's how, like, I kind of, like, got through it. Like, he kinda helped me the best he could. He didn't know about the Xanax or anything like that. So, we got engaged. I was like, "Okay, let me try and, like, clean it up a little." Stuff was going relatively well, a little voices here and there. But then 2021, when I had the psychotic break, I think he really didn't know how to, like, help me, other than, like, be there for me, which did help in itself. So when he stayed with me through my psychotic break, when I like had to go check myself in and I heard noises and I'm like jumping off like into the pool, like naked from like the second floor of our house, like he stuck by me, which I was like really shocked because I was like, who does that and who should do that, by the way. I never say like stay with someone if they're acting, that way. You don't have to do that. Because I put him through so much, but he did. So I was like, all right, let me try and get myself better because we're about to get married. And I'm like, I want to like not embarrass him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, he stayed with me and everyone was telling him, leave Trisha. Like, she's awful. She's the worst. And he stayed. So I was like, let me try and like work on myself like somehow. So I went back to DBT classes, but it was the meditation that like really, what was it? I think I started with something very simple, either The Power of Now or like The Secret, like the intro to spirituality. I was like, let me read something like this. And like it kind of helped, right? Like the gratitude in the morning, like all those like simple techniques. I
The
was like,
Power of Now is one of
yeah,
my all-time favorite books.
really?
And I love
So
the
good.
audiobook because he has this weird Austrian accent, Eckhart Tolle. So you listen to him
Yeah.
like, you are only now in your place. You take a breath,
Chills.
and that is all that exists. And there is your ego is an illusion. There is only the moment. And as soon as I tap into that, I'm like, like
It's
it
audio.
releases everything. Yeah.
I love
yeah.
that you know that because yeah, same. And I know that's like the intro book, right? But I really recommend to anyone who's just like, I need help. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm spiraling. Like, I just feel like that puts you in such a perspective. I think the world in general is headed towards that direction, right? Is like being in the now and stuff. But I feel like for a while it wasn't like that.
So there's a lot going on right
Mhm.
now. How did you get the pills away and decide to kind of like ground yourself into something more meaningful and more connected?
I'm thankful that I've never had like an addictive personality to like substances. Like I was
So the
just kind of,
substances just kind of came and go. If they
yeah.
were around, like, oh, here's
Hmm.
some pills, I'll take them,
Yeah.
and this person's doing that, and I'll do it. And,
So this was like
yeah,
the time where I think my husband realized like I was taking pills because again, he's never been that person. So he didn't know what it looks like to be on like Xanax. Like he just thought I was
yeah.
tired or something or like whatever. So I think at that point is when he took all the pills. Like he saw all of them and realized, oh, it's not just like medications for when you're anxious or something. Like it's like, so he took all of them and just like threw them away, right? So they're just not in the house. It's like food for me. I have like a food addiction too, right? If potato chips aren't in the house, I'm not going to eat them. If they're in the house, I'll eat the whole bag in like 5 minutes, you know? So it was
Hmm.
very much that. It's very similar. Same thing with money, same thing with everything. I used to just spend. I'd make $500,000 a month and spend $500,000 a month. Like I could just do that.
What would you spend it on?
Music videos. I used to
Wait,
produce my own music videos and I would go to like Universal Studios backlot, get fire department for like hoses going off. And I recreated like D-Day, like in Long Beach. Like I had all these soldiers and blow ups. Like,
so you're
yeah.
addicted to making your own music videos.
Yeah. I
I
spent
haven't.
a lot of money, $10 million on it. Yeah. In like
What?
6 years.
Are
Yeah.
they good?
Yeah, I think they're really good. People now think they're really iconic, and I actually don't regret spending all my money on it. But it was before I even bought a house. I like spent money on this. I could have had like this,
Right.
but again, my husband helped me with my finances. Like, oh, maybe just try to save some money, and I was like, okay. So same thing with pills.
How
Same
did you
thing.
meet Moses, right?
Yes, Moses. We met on the DMs. Yeah, and
Oh,
right
wow.
before quarantine.
So he
we
was a
met.
fan.
Um,
You married a fan.
No, he wasn't a fan at all. It's complicated, but he's wonderful and great. And we didn't have a perfect relationship at the beginning, but we do have a very perfect relationship now. It's wonderful. But he really did like change my life, and as far as like actually trying to help me better myself. Like, oh, let's try and save money. Let's try and take the pills
Hmm.
away. And
Hmm.
he really stood by me through all these messes, and no one's ever done that. My breakup before him was basically like jumped as soon as something like went wrong, which again I totally understand because I was a little unhinged. So yeah, just I wasn't addicted to like pills necessarily. So that in combination with literally for like the 3 months before our wedding, I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything. So I was like, let me just literally sit in silence for like 5 hours a day. And I would do that. I would just sit, like, because I didn't know what meditation meant. So I was like, let me just like not think about anything. And
That's a good place to start with meditation.
yeah, it was great. Like
Yeah.
clearing your mind. Like I
Mm.
just didn't know what that was. So I went into all sort of religions and people really came for me during this time because I was posting so much about all the religions I was learning about. So they're like,
So
oh,
what did you learn? What religions did you study and what did you learn? And how did you learn about them?
really just kind of research books, going to temples, going to, there's a really great Hare Krishna center in Venice. So I'd like go there and visit and I would kind of just like sit there because it's beautiful inside and I kind of sit and like absorb and, they had the books and stuff that I read too. But every time I would post it, because, I love posting about everything I'm doing. So I would post about, wow, I'm like learning this. I'm going to these temples. And everyone thought because they're on this cancellation train, they're like, Trisha's mocking this. Trisha's like appropriating culture, like a religion. But one thing I learned about all religions, I wouldn't consider myself religious. I just was trying to find something to be like a part of. I think everything, like all religions kind of say the same thing, right? Like there's a higher being.
Amen,
Yeah.
sister. This is the one of the thesis of Soul Boom.
Yeah. Okay. So
And
you get it.
I'm a Baha'i, and that's kind of a central
Are
tenet of the
you?
Baha'i faith
I
is
just learned
all
this.
religions come from the same source and
Yes.
essentially the same. Although it's easy to see human-made differences, at the core they're very, very similar. But
Yeah, I feel like when people talk about manifesting, it's also like praying. But if you even go back to the original religion, like Wiccan, right? Like the pagans, they're using like the elements, the smoke, the fire, but it's doing all the same thing, right? Like you're all like, or even energy, right? When scientists are like, oh, the Big Bang, but it's like people believe God, it's like God, Big Bang, energy, source, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of the same, right? And people don't like when I say that because that could be whatever. But I think it's all similar when you like, even like in Buddhism, like when you like, when you meditate, it's like, science will call it like wise mind, right? Like therapy will be like, that's wise mind. But to me, it's like meditation. So I kind of learned that. And I really did study like everything. I,
and what drove this?
I honestly just like needed something. I was just like, I Googled one day, like literally like how to get my mind right. And I just read somewhere that someone's like, just go and like just have no thoughts in your head at all. And I was like, well, thoughts are always running and consuming me. So let me
Right.
try this. So I started every morning still with meditation, but I would literally sit in my outside for like 5 hours and it and I would be on TikTok live doing it, right? I'd just sit in
You
silence.
streamed yourself having no thoughts?
But can I tell you, people were so mean. They would throw tomatoes at me because I was fully like just closed
Wait,
eyes.
wait.
Yeah.
In real life, like over the
No.
fence of your backyard, they throw tomatoes at you?
On TikTok live, you can throw tomatoes at people. So there's clips
I
of
didn't know
me.
how that works.
I didn't know either.
They hit a button and then tomatoes go?
You actually have to pay money to throw tomatoes at someone. So I was actually getting coin, but I didn't know that.
Oh my God.
But
What?
there's a clip of me meditating that's like really viral. And at the time I was really like offended by it, but now it's kind of funny. And it's me like literally just, because sometimes I would do just like vibrations, right? All that stuff like that. I would just do vibrations just to see if I could feel something different. So I was doing that as I was doing yoga, as I was doing, whatever. And I was like, well, let me just go on TikTok live because I'm not creating any other content. And then people were throwing tomatoes at me. But it helped. It helped me. People thought I was being funny, but still to this day, I really do start my morning off with like meditation when I can. Obviously, I have a 3-month-old, so it's hard now. But sometimes she's in there with me meditating,
I'm trying to
Yeah.
connect
Mm.
your path out of that darkness. And like, I love this idea that you just Googled, like, how to get your mind right. Try and have no thoughts. I'm going to sit there for 5 hours. But of course, because it's you,
Yeah.
you've got to like set up the phone
I
and
did.
log in and put it on the tripod. And, it fell. Put the light on and like
Yeah.
make sure your hair like, like,
Sure, yeah.
and then you have to,
It motivated me to do it,
right.
Now I just do it and I don't really film it.
What would it be like for you to not live in the public eye for a year?
I always think about that because I also play the lottery every day and I always think, well, if tonight I win, it's like $800 million. I'm like, if I won $800 million, I'm like, I would just disappear. But my husband's like, no, you wouldn't. He's like, you would just build a bigger set. You would just be on Universal backlot, like just paying people to come see your show. Like I would still want to be I like to perform. I like to like be creative, I don't know. Maybe I just like being seen. I have no idea, actually, if you want to get deep. I'm not really sure. But that year, honestly, it was just a Google. And that's why I kind of share my story because I'm not the typical like spiritual guru, right? But it did help me. And I'm like, well, that is the biggest thing. Like, obviously, gratitude and obviously, like, just having your mind clear, like, before you go to bed, like, all that stuff, like, just helps because like answers just kind of come to you when you clear. Right? If you overthink things, like I was constantly overthinking, oh my God, people are going to hate me if I put this out. Oh, people are going to judge me for my past. Like just all these thoughts were like consuming me and almost like manifesting themselves because I just like, everyone hates me. I'm problematic. I'm this. And then the moment I started thinking or not thinking rather, it just kind of like gave me clarity of like what I needed to do. And it kind of just guided me. And basically when I was like trying to get pregnant, like in my like late 20s, they're like, oh, your tubes are like fucking fucked up. They're like scarred. So I was like, okay, I probably can't get pregnant and like never could for so long. So it was like 10 years. And then when my husband and I tried like pretty early on, because we were both older when we met, couldn't for like 2 years. And then 3 months after we get married, and then like that next month I was like pregnant, which we had been trying for so long. And I got like pregnant and again, I know that's like not an answer for a lot of people, especially people who have like fertility treatment. But for me, like something switched like internally for me where I was like, boom, I got pregnant, which never happened in my life, So it was a wild thing. And so I do feel like some of it attribute it to that, where I felt like, again, universe or God, something knew I was ready,
Well, I'm so glad the universe didn't allow you to get pregnant when you were on that
Me too.
roller coaster of pain and self-destruction.
Yeah, same.
And not ready to bring a child into the world.
And I thought I was like, from 25, I was like, I want a baby. I didn't care like with who either. I was like, I just need a baby. That'll make me feel better. And that was like my goal, my whole life was to have a baby.
Do you see this pattern a little bit? You see this whole thing,
Yeah.
like maybe a
Yes.
baby will maybe it's a
Of
pill, maybe
course.
it's a fame, maybe it's music career,
Mhm.
maybe it's, because we didn't even get into the whole like gender dysphoria and your gender journey, right?
Yeah.
That was another thing of you're kind of searching for this identity, this kind of
Mhm.
like mad dash scramble for stuff outside of yourself to bring you some kind of solace and direction.
For sure. Yeah. I think that was why I was such a like mess online, because it was just like this person has no idea who they are, what they're doing, And I didn't know my identity for so long. And I would say that's maybe my one struggle that I haven't combated yet, is like still not really like knowing who I am, right? Because I do cosplay, so I'm always like dressing up as like a different person or whatever. And so I don't know fully I know who I am, but I don't think I need to like have that figured out right now, because I know I'm in a good spot. So I'm like, whatever I am right now, I feel like I'm good. So I think I'm good at like not trying to like be other people. But yeah, it's a lot. I think because now I don't think like love heals everything, but I kind of do. I think the Beatles were right? Like love is all you need. Cause like for me, that was kind of the case, right? It's like, oh, someone like loves me. Like that's kind of all I needed maybe.
Mm,
Because I
mm,
really don't feel like I'm chasing things now where it's like, yeah, I'm a Taurus, I love money, but it's like, I'm not like, it's not driving me like it used to, you know?
mm. Think of all the
I,
music videos you could make.
oh, I do think about that. I know. Well, I made enough. I made like 60 music videos, so I'm like, maybe I'm good.
Amazing.
Yeah, but
So what's your conception of God or a higher power in your life right now?
I believe 100%. I believe in God. I believe in God. Like if I'm gonna say it, I believe in it. I never want to like offend anybody with that because I think it can offend people.
How would you offend people with that?
I never want to like alienate. It's like politics, right? Like politics,
So then the
religion.
people who don't believe in God would be mad at you right now? Like,
Yeah, I just don't want to like have them give up hope. If you don't believe in God, there's no hope for you. You know what I mean? Like God
mhm.
helped me, but I tell people that's why I say like source, energy, creation, like all this stuff. Like maybe believe in
Because
a
the word
higher.
God is a tough word for a lot of people.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think I just am not quite there yet to say that for everybody. For me, it is. For me, I definitely believe in God.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't want other people to feel like there's no hope if they don't believe in
How
God.
do you connect with God or experience God, source, energy, the divine cosmic supercharger in the sky?
Just truly when I'm in my silence. I don't know what you do, but for me, it's like when I'm truly like able to just be completely silent. Sometimes it's in my closet now. I have a meditation room that my husband built me and it's great. But sometimes I just go in my closet now for peace because my kids will go up there. But sometimes I'm just sitting in my closet. I like feel it. It's like almost so much vibration where it's almost like I don't know how to describe it. Your body physically moves. Like it moves. Like I don't get the answers there, but like later on in the day, like a phone call comes, like something comes where I'm like, that was the answer. Maybe not that day, like maybe the next week, but
Hmm.
I feel it. It almost is like ringing. I once had like I think it was like Entertainment Tonight did like a home tour and we were in the meditation room and they're like, okay, show us what you do or whatever. And the audio guy was like, no, the frequency was like actually like it was like staticky. Like all of a sudden there was this like high, like frequent like pitch and it was like I don't know, like the vibrations were like really high or something. So I really do feel it. I feel him. I really do when I'm just silent, one of my thoughts. When I'm thinking too much, I don't think I can connect, you know? And I think that
Hmm.
was my problem my
And
whole
is there
life.
ever prayer involved? Do you ever
Oh,
ask for things or
mm,
beseech or connect or praise or
all of it. So I have 4 separate journals and I journal every day and they look cool. They're like little witchy like spell books. They're really cool. But I journal. So like one is like just giving thanks for what I have or what I want, right? So and I ask, of course. I
so you have
think
a thank you
I have
journal?
a gratitude journal.
Do you
And
stream that
I
writing in your
don't.
thank you
No,
journal?
maybe when I'm
Okay.
dead, they can publish it or something because it's pretty cool. But I actually don't because I don't. Sometimes I ask for some crazy things, but I think that's fine. So I
Like what?
ask.
Like a giraffe?
No, not a giraffe, but they always deliver. It delivers, or if it's not meant to be, you know, what is the saying? Like, God's rejection's your protection, right? So it's like sometimes I ask for things, he's maybe like, maybe not. And then I have another journal, and it's like my book of secrets. So like every day, it's like a secret to like having a good Sunday or secrets to having a good week or something. So it's like my little secret. So like the book of secrets I have. And then I have like a wishes, book of wishes. So that's like my wild dreams, like just asking for everything. And then I have a daily journal where I'm like, today I did this, you know? So there's like 4 things. And in journaling, I clear my mind because you can't think of it. When I'm writing, I can't multitask. So it clears my mind that way. So I do like half hour of silence, a half hour of reading, and then like a half hour of like journaling. And again, I have a good husband who like will watch the kids for an hour and a half because it's hard to do when you're a mom.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about connecting with the source
Mm-hmm.
in the journaling?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think writing, right? When you hear about like manifesting, visualizing, I think writing for me is my big one. And it's not even manifesting, it's just like clarity. And I think that's when I get it the most is like writing. It just is like it's down, it's there, I see it, I mean it. And I think that does wonders. As opposed to like when I was younger, I used to like pray, like, dear God, please help me with this. I think it could work, but for me, it's better to journal it because then I'm not like
Mm,
thinking about other
mm,
things.
yeah.
So yeah.
Have you ever had what you would call like a mystical or transcendent experience?
Hmm. I don't know if I've had anything like that other than feeling the vibrations. Have you? Because I would love to experience it, but I haven't.
I have, sure.
Have you talked about it?
There's not much to talk about. It's really more of a of a feeling. It's kind of like seeing things in a new way. I once had this dream when I was 19 that was I was flying over this green field, and there were all these like ducks, and they were scattered, and geese or some birds were scattering, and I was flying, and the colors were so vibrant, and it was this just otherworldly experience, and everything was kind of built of love. Like I just had this, the sun was love in the sky, the green was love, the birds scattering, they were going, ah,
Oh my gosh.
were, and I woke up, and I just had this profound experience that I think some people need ayahuasca to tap into,
Yeah.
which was that everything is love. I really believe that I
Mm.
dreamed of the next world or the next plane or a higher plane or something like that, that I
Ooh.
was soaring in it. But it wasn't just up here, and it wasn't just here. It was visceral. Like I can remember, I get goosebumps thinking about that one dream.
Wow.
And I've had kind of flashes of that throughout my life about just like ultimate connection, how everything is connected.
Mm.
Light, molecules, energy, love, laughter,
Yes.
art, beauty, music, God, that it's the dissociation that we feel, the disconnection that we feel is an illusion, because
Mm.
the reality is that we are all waves on the same sea.
Mm.
And that is what I know to be a spiritual truth. And when I feel disconnected, I try and connect with that with prayer and meditation and being in nature.
It works.
So
Nature works too when you just like go outside for a walk or
yeah,
something
yeah.
and like feel it. It works. Oh, I love it. I wish I had like that full on experience. Like I've definitely experienced like miracles when I've asked for something and it happens like instantaneously and you're like, "Oh my God, like God is real." And I've had that since having my daughter. There was like an instance when she was like 6 months old, fell off the couch, and we had like white marble, and she was like bleeding. Her lip, everything was so swollen, and I was so scared, and I remember just, like, praying. I'm like, "Just please heal her." Like, she was in so much pain. Her whole face was just, like, it was so scary. It was swollen. It was everything. I thought everything was broken,
Oh,
bleeding.
no.
I prayed, and again, I know, like, I shouldn't, like, be so apologetic about it, but I feel bad when people are like, "I don't believe in God." But for me, this was so God. I prayed so hard for hours that night. I just, like, prayed. I couldn't sleep. And literally the next morning, she's taking her bottle. Her face is completely back to normal, as if, like, nothing happened. She's drinking the bottle as if her teeth
Did she go
nothing
to the
happened.
doctor?
Yeah, we took her to the hospital and
Okay.
stuff, and they, like, looked at her. She didn't need any, like, stitches or anything, but they,
Yeah.
like, put ice, monitor
Kids
her.
heal like that. It's
They
crazy
healed
how they heal. Yeah.
so fast,
It's
and
nuts.
I thought it was, like, gonna be life damaging for her. Like, I just
Yeah.
really thought, like, "Oh my gosh, that fall was in," like, there was just blood and everything. And she was, like, the next day, like, as if nothing happened, like, just drinking her bottle as if her, like, mouth was normal. Because
Mm-hmm.
they said, she might have soreness in her gums. It might be bruised for a couple days. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, there's been, like, little things like that. But your experience of, like, seeing, like, I've had, like, another dimension when I've been on, like, Molly, where you can, like, hear the animals talk, which is great. And I believe it's so real, but that's, like, more just being in a parallel universe as opposed to, like, seeing what's next and, like, the next. I would like to believe in heaven, and, like, your story inspires that, where, like, maybe that is something in the next one where we're all just, like, so happy. Like, that idea sounds great,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to believe in it, and I feel like there's nothing wrong in believing with that, because how else are you gonna deal with, like, death, right? It's like, this can't be it, and I don't know, people who think that maybe it's true. Nobody knows the truth. Maybe it is. We just end up in a box, but I'd like to believe we're soaring in love. That'd be much happier.
I just had an event happen with someone in my extended family. I won't say any names, but someone very old died. The husband died in his 90s, and the wife was there in the room as he passed. And as he passed, she saw her daughter that had passed away in the room wearing a blue dress at the foot of the bed of her husband, who was literally in death rattle, like the final breaths. She saw her daughter in a blue dress, and the daughter was putting a blue blanket
Oh.
over the body of her husband. a symbolic blue blanket. She didn't actually see like there was all of a sudden a blanket didn't just appear.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she said, without saying anything, but just in her mind, like, are you taking him? And she said, yeah, I'm taking him, and
Oh.
all is good, and we're going. And there were other people in the room,
Mm.
and this just happened last week.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
but you hear just countless stories like that about ancestors and relatives
Mhm.
and visions and from near-death experiences, and they're really truly inexplicable. The science can only explain so much about possible ways we might hallucinate a tunnel of light, or time might kind of refract and play tricks on us. But the one thing that science really can't explain is, the appearance of relatives ushering us on a journey that's in every culture of the world.
And they don't have any explanation on it.
No.
Yeah, I believe in it 100%. I do. I think that when you hear those stories, I believe in it. There has to be something, right? There has to be that. I believe in it for sure. My husband thinks we all turn into go back into the ocean and we're all water again, and I like that too. He's very liquid theory, and I like that. I believe something. So whether we're all in the ocean together or we go into another dimension, I think there is something for sure.
Now, your husband is Jewish, and you've been talking about Judaism recently,
Mhm.
and kind of some meaning and inspiration you've gotten from that
Yeah.
ancient faith tradition. Tell us about that.
I think again, just have a longing to belong to something, right? So when I met him, I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna become Jewish," because I just wanted to be part of community, and I thought going like in the Jewish faith, there's just so many fun traditions. So I thought, "Oh, this is fun, something more to celebrate," and without really realizing what it's all about, right? It's and I'm not fully there. I'm not an expert on this. I just wanted to feel a part of something. But I will say with Judaism is they were so accepting. So we had a rabbi that was just very much taking me step by step where maybe I didn't know all the prayers. I even try to learn Hebrew. I was trying to learn all these things. And he's like, all you have to do is, and he was very, I don't know, because converting is a long process. And he's like, let's just start from the beginning. So he would kind of help me with just the very basic, you know, practices of it. But my husband doesn't necessarily practice it that much either. He's just kind of, that's what he was rooted in. I was rooted in Catholicism. He was rooted in that. So we kind of learned it together. But I wouldn't say I full on became Jewish. I couldn't quite convert. It's a lot. It's a lot. As with any religion, there's a lot of rules and
It's a lot of work.
it's a lot of
Yeah.
work. And I just don't know if I was able to put in the work before we got married. So I sadly didn't convert. But I have a lot of respect for the culture and the people.
What have you
because-
learned from Judaism?
I knew that question was coming. I think with that is just, and I don't know. This is a hard one to talk about just because of the current state of everything right now. I get a little scared to talk about it, but
You have literally had
I know.
nervous breakdowns
I
with
know.
pills and sex works online.
That I can
and
talk
then,
about.
but talking about God or what you learned
Yeah.
from Judaism,
I get nervous with the internet.
you're afraid of what people are going to say.
Weirdly enough, yeah, people are more judgy on that, or they're more sensitive to those issues, as opposed to me being like, I did blow. They're like, aha, you're a mess. But when you start talking about religion, I just feel like it alienates so many people. And I'm not that I'm opposed to it, but I think it's just a heavy
I would
topic.
encourage you to speak your truth and speak your heart. And some people are not going to like it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like what I say, and that's fine. God bless them.
To me, okay, so when I studied Judaism, Christianity, and then Islamic faith, they're all kind of the same, right? But they all kind of elevate. So they all believe in God, right? And then you have Jesus, and then you lose the Jewish people, and then you have Muhammad, and then you lose the Christian people. So I just feel like it's all this
Continuation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, Judaism is the beat, right? That's where Jesus was a Jew, right? If you're trying to go into that, right? So I don't know. I think it's all it's based on one thing and it's great, but I think it's a very simplistic version of what the world is and Jesus and all that stuff like that, which is a whole other thing. But I don't know if I'm really an expert to even talk about it, which is also why I'm hesitant to talk about it, because people are like, this dummy. And I kind of am when it comes to this. I'm like, Jewish people for dummies, Judaism for dummies. I love that you do this, by the way. Like, I kind of didn't think of you as this person, but when I like looked into it, I was
Yeah,
like,
I know.
wow, I love
It's
it.
weird. Wait, the sitcom actor who played the beet farmers talking about
Right.
God and the soul, that's weird.
It's surreal. It's actually surreal because you
Okay.
look like the character, but then you don't sound like him. Like I feel like I'm
False.
you have the vibe of the character. But like talking to you, I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm in like a session. Like you have a really good aura, but
I'd be a good therapist.
you actually would. And you look like one too. With the glasses and the sweater and the
Oh,
globe.
thanks. Okay, there's so much I want to ask you here. I mean, I feel like you have an insight into kind of the underbelly of the American social media dream. What about this chase for fame? Talk about fame.
Mm.
Like, I was talking to Penn Badgley the other day, and we were talking about fame, and I was framing it in terms of, humans have a bunch of basic needs, right? We need to eat, we need to have shelter, we want to have sex, that's an impulse. We want to have kind of social capital and have people like us. And this goes back to the caveman days 100,000 years ago. And when they interview young people now, and you're kind of like at the cutting edge of that generation when they started interviewing them, they weren't interested in money or power, which were the normal ways to kind of gain those kind of solidity around those basic human needs. Then it turned to fame, because once you have fame, you have sex, you have enough money for food, you have enough money for shelter, you have social status. It kind of covers all those bases. So you see this now, and, in some ways it seems to be kind of spiraling out of control. This this kind of narcissistic need for fame. Talk to us about that. You achieved it pretty young, right?
Yeah. I don't even know if I've ever like achieved it to where I like wanted to be, right? Where like everyone knows your name. I think online I have. I think most people who want to be like in it for the fame. I know there's actors who like don't want to be famous, but I think the people who like love the fame aspect of it probably like maybe like need attention, right? Like I feel like as a kid I didn't get a lot of attention. I feel like a lot of people didn't. So I think like that's where it comes from, is like having like strangers like love you. Like it just sounds wonderful, right? Like just everyone knowing your name and wanting to be your friend. Like I think that's where it comes from. And I still love it to this day. Like I still really love when people just like want a picture. It makes me feel so special, and like I don't know, I guess just the need to feel special.
One could say that, we have a God-shaped hole. I think we have that on a mug somewhere.
That's a good merch. Is it on here? Oh no.
Filling my God-shaped hole with coffee.
Is this the God-shaped hole?
No, the
Oh.
God-shaped hole is in the soul
Oh, okay.
that we
The
try
soul
and
boom.
constantly fill with stuff outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
We fill it with money and stuff, and we fill it with sex, and we fill it with drugs and alcohol, and we fill it with workaholism, and we fill it with a need for fame.
Yeah.
But now you're kind of more on a spiritual journey. But you still talk very highly about your road to fame. It almost killed you.
Right. That more than once, for sure. And I think what you say is so true, right? Like I had like I had all like addictions. It's like personality-based addictions, like a shopping addiction, like spending money, sex addiction. You know what I mean? I was just like so chaotic in my youth. And I was just like, yeah, just trying to fill, like you said, anything, I guess, just to feel something. And yeah, now I talk about it highly because I'm like thankful that still get to do this and have like a really like good job, and people still care about me, because like I think with you, like you're an actor. So it doesn't matter if people like love you, like you're a good actor, you'll get work. With me, it's like people have to like love me in order for me to keep working, like as me as a person. So I'm like super thankful. Chapel Roan recently talked about it, how she gets like a little like off put when people come up to her, which I would totally understand, right? Like it's like you don't know me, but people kind of do know me because I put so much out there. So I talk highly about people knowing me and being famous because that's kind of all I have as far as my job goes. Like they're like my bosses. Like
It feels like you haven't really put together that insatiable need for fame and recognition, and the fact that almost killed you.
right.
Do you know what I mean? Because you still
Sure.
talk about it in like glowing terms. It's very odd. Like, because I know that
Yeah.
spirituality is very important to you, and that recently you've been really exploring both your Christian faith of your youth, your Judaism now, and other spiritual modalities to deepen your rich, gooey, chewy human fulfillment soul
Yes.
fulfillment stuff.
I think I talk about it because I just feel lucky. I feel like now if everything went away, like I'd be good because I like made the money, I've invested what like I can like live now, you know? But I always will talk about it glowingly because I kind of made like because I know what you're saying. Like for me, money was like the end all be all, right? Like if I got $1 million, $10 million, I'm like, then I made it. And so I did that, right? I was able to do that and I felt really great about it and I felt really lucky. So I talk about it in the sense like, wow, I got to do all this and make the money I wanted and live, which is good. But now I don't know, I don't necessarily care so much about like the money, but I'm thankful for what I did do to get here. You know what I mean? To be stable in my life, to finally have enough money to not have to worry about it.
Do people talk to you about how much
Mm.
them following your journey has, given them strength, hope, wisdom, perspective?
I think that yes, I think that's the best thing right now. This is the now that I'm living in that I like am actually like the most thankful for is yeah, that there's this whole new generation that got to see like a whole like story unfold of like just me at my like absolute lowest to me now where I'm like in a very good place and I'm so thankful to show like those dips because like it just shows like you can get through anything, right? And I feel like because it's like the first generation of like people showing this life on social media, it's like more impactful than like someone just like retelling the story. People got to like live through it. So when people tell me like that, like, oh, like Trisha gives me hope, like that makes me happy. That's like the ultimate. And I was like, thank God I showed all the messy parts and got to like live and show the happy ending.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It gets so deep so quick.
That's what she said. There's like 27,000 hours of you
Online.
online
Yeah, there's a lot.
being documented, speaking about yourself.
Yeah.
What compelled you, drove you, urged you to document every single part of your life online? I feel like this is a new thing. And I'm an old, crusty Gen Xer,
Yeah.
not a boomer, Gen Xer.
Okay.
But this idea of like live streaming and documenting life changes and mental states and moods and check-ins and you were like the epitome of that.
Yeah.
What drove you toward that? What's the reason?
I think I started when I was 18, so it's been 18 years. So I think I just like wanted to be famous but didn't have talent. I wasn't like you where I could be like an actor. That's like the goal everyone has, right? When they come out here, it's like I want to be on a TV show, but I didn't really have talent. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll do this route. And it was like at the beginning stages, like 2006, like right when YouTube started. And
Yeah, you were early practitioner of the old YouTubes.
I was, yeah. I
yeah.
started it because I really
It
did.
was like you and like Vsauce and like
Vsauce.
John Green.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And Smosh and like those neon cats.
Smosh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Some of them are still there. I mean, John Green's huge, you know. Some people became successful after it.
Because I started a company, Soul Pancake. We started around 2009, 2010. We were pretty early in the whole YouTube thing, but we were kind of the second wave. But you were at the very beginning.
First wave.
So it really
yeah.
started with some fame. Like I want some fame.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to be like famous, but you didn't like know how. Now with social media, anyone can be famous, which is like cool. But I think that was like the early stages of it. I was like, this is my fame. I was trying to like, weirdly enough, like get the attention of people. I loved Quentin Tarantino, which is why I moved to LA. So my whole like first 50 videos are just like dedicated to Quentin Tarantino and acting scenes. And and it got his attention. I met him within like 3 weeks of moving to LA when I was 18. So it like worked. And I was like, oh, I'll keep doing this. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love how ballsy that is to just come out and say, like, I just wanted to be famous. So I started but tell me about your journey. I don't usually do this, but you're such a fascinating person, and I feel like we're so different, and I really want to understand you. But I also love your journey too, and the way that you've kind of woven spirituality through it. But how does talk me through it? What's your background?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I was so shocked. I was like, and it kind of fit perfectly because I have recently gone on a spiritual journey. So I was like, oh, this kind of like fits. Yeah, I've had a lot of issues. I think like I was mentally unstable for so long, mentally unwell for so long.
When did that start? Like 3 or 13 or 23?
Probably 3.
Okay.
Probably 3.
Mhm.
I feel like there was like traumas as everyone has in childhood that kind of like, just hindered me different ways. I don't think I like knew what my disorder was until I was like 29. Like I went to a couple mental hospitals in 2019 and I realized like, oh, there might be something like wrong with me. Used to people just gave me pills and stuff all the time. So I was taking like bipolar medication when I wasn't bipolar. So I was
Okay.
taking like lithium. I was taking all this crazy, not crazy. I hate that word, but like just wild things in my body that I didn't need. So I think my journey online has showed that because a lot of people would say I'm like used to be very problematic online because I just was unhinged in every single way. Some of it was drugs, some of it was mental illness, some of the combination together. So 2019 was my like rock bottom, and I think that's when I went to
So
like
it's a very particular cocktail of drugs, mental illness,
yeah, it's
and constant online documentation
oh
of
yeah.
the ups
Yeah.
and downs of those.
Right. And getting paid to it, right? Like all my meltdowns would be documented, but I would get millions of views. So you're getting like $8,000 to $10,000 for these videos. So you're like, well, the more unhinged I am, the more people watch,
This is fascinating. This is kind of like the modern like train wreck of American culture.
Yeah. And I think we see that more even now with TikTok. There's just random, I was online for a while, but now you just see like random people showing like every little bad part of their life, which is like good in one sense, but it's there forever. Like it's my kids will see it. Like it's people won't look past it. Be like, oh, Trisha, she's crazy. Oh, they don't like see the growth, so they'll know you as just a mess. So it's good and bad, I guess. You can show the growth, but also there's people who don't want to see you change, and you're just like a mess forever.
What were your teenage years like? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Illinois, kind of just like a blur. I feel like I was just like disassociating most of my like teenage life.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, there was not much to it. Just Illinois, just not.
But something urged you at 18 to move to LA and start
Yeah.
streaming
Yeah.
your life.
Well, like I said, the YouTube was relatively new. I did it just to get the HTML code for like MySpace. Were you on MySpace?
I for 3 weeks or something.
Wait,
Yeah.
really?
It was right when The Office was starting, and then everyone was joining MySpace, and then I joined. It was just crazy, and I couldn't handle all the pages that were like
Yeah.
vibrating, and people had music blasting, and like I couldn't process it.
Like overstimulated
Yeah,
you? Well, I
yeah.
assume too because that was the other thing. For someone like me who's a fan of celebrities, I was like contacting. That was like the first way to like contact celebrities. So someone like you who was on TV, like all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I can talk to Eli Roth. Like that was so cool to me because like how else would you have done that,
Yeah. Mm.
So probably for mainstream actors, they're probably like, I don't know if I want to be this close to like the fans because some can be cuckoo. I was a little cuckoo back then for sure. I was definitely like, where are you at? I'm gonna find you. Like not in a creepy way. I would just show up to like every signing, every like event that I could to be like, hi, like can I have a picture with you? So I think that would probably be more scarier for people like you.
So you were on Big Brother.
I did get to be on Big Brother. That was pretty fun.
I was on Road Rules season 9.
Wait, what?
Kind of.
Did you compete? Were you like?
I wasn't a compete. They had a character called the Roadmaster.
No way.
It was terrible. The Roadmaster, and I wore like a weird wig and like a fake nose, and I was behind this, and I had this evil voice, and I would give the road rulers their missions every week.
Gosh.
It was.
Wow.
I don't even think there's any extant footage of me as
No.
the Roadmaster.
That would be iconic to see.
It was really pretty embarrassing. It's
Is
pretty embarrassing.
that before?
I came from New York. I was like a Shakespearean actor. I was like on Broadway, and I came and I was being the Roadmaster. Like, listen, road rulers, today you're going to walk a tightrope. Not only a literal tightrope, but a tightrope of fear.
I felt it. That was so good. Honestly, iconic that you did that. Like, I love that you're like this like serious like thespian from New York, but then also like I'll do this job because not everybody would do
I
that.
gotta pay the rent. I gotta keep the lights on, babe.
I love that.
Come on.
How old were you?
Oh, I was early 30s. I moved to LA. I was 34.
Is this
Yeah.
before or after Galaxy Quest?
This was right at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, 99, 2000. I was just trying to
In your 30s.
get things going. Yeah.
Oh, that's inspiring.
Because I had just done theater before that, so it was all new to me. So
Oh my God. And then you got The Office, which is like humongous.
and then a few years later I got The Office. Yeah.
do you hate talking about it?
The Office?
Yeah.
No.
Do you get how some people like hate talking about the Brady Bunch or something,
I mean, I've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
Not only for the last 10 years since it ended, but during the 10 years that it was on the air. So it's like
Yeah.
like a good 20 years of me talking about it. So
yeah.
tired is not the right thing. Like sometimes I'm like,
I do other stuff.
I get a little bored about it, but I'm happy to talk about it. But Trisha, this has been such
Thank
an
you.
honor to talk with you and to hear your story.
I feel like that was a mess. That was so much. Your audience would be like, this girl.
You're a beautiful mess,
Thank
and
you.
I love the way that you share your journey and your path, and
Thank you.
with just vulnerability and honesty. And I think people get a lot out of hearing that. So this has been wonderful having you.
Thank you. And I don't know anything about anything. This is just what works for me. So that's it. I got to disclaim that. I'm not an expert at all, as you can tell.
I love it.
Thank you.
It.
The Soul Boom Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stupid podcasts.